Hello everyone, my name is Saurabh Kumar and I welcome you all to my video series where we are covering Amazon Web Service Training. We have reached in part number 15 now, session 15, and in this session we will be talking about EBS overview, Elastic Block Storage overview. We will have EBS and Snapshot lab today. We are going to do them practically, how to create EBS storage, how to take snapshot of it, and we will also try to do experiment with EBS on Linux. So basically this training will be most on practical side, that how we can create EBS, how we can extend existing EBS, how we can attach any new EBS with the existing instance. Those kind of practicals will be covered in this particular session. So let's begin. So very first thing, we are going to have some theoretical information about EBS. What is EBS is? So as per its full name, it is elastic, meaning that it can be anytime a scale up and a scale down. Generally, if we talk about a storage, we always go for more, we don't go for less. Then it is a type of block storage, same like we have a sandbox. So this one provides a block storage, and this which type of block storage it is? It is elastic block storage, which can be increased as per the requirement. For example, today you have you made an instance with let's say that 30 GB of hard disk. Tomorrow, if you want to make it more, you want to go for 40 GB, 500 GB, 1 terabyte, 20 terabyte, you can go beyond. So that's the one point. That's why it is called as a elastic. So what is elastic block store is? It is a persistent block level storage volume, offer consistent and low latency performance. That's why it is generally being used to keep your operating system of your instance. It stored data is automatically replicated within AZ. So meaning that whatever you store there, generally the cloud service provider, means that Amazon is going to replicate its data within the same availability zone. Next point is, we can also create a snapshot of the EBS. We can take a snapshot of our storage, and that snapshot will be always stored in Amazon S3. We have already done the practical part of Amazon S3, how to create bucket, how to upload folder, how to upload file, and all those kind of things. So even if you have not created any bucket or something, if you have EBS and if you start taking maybe snapshot, it can be going to your using the Amazon S3 service to store those snapshot. We will see them practically in upcoming videos or upcoming lessons. But today I will at least demonstrate you how you can take snapshot of any of your storage, any of your EBS volume. So let's begin. Let's continue from here. Next thing here you can see, when we talk about EC2 plus EBS plus Amazon S3 all together, how does it work? So first of all, you have an AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Maybe you have this image of Amazon Linux or maybe Windows, maybe Red Hat Linux. That by using that image, we create instance. So here you see, according to this picture, if you see, there are 4 instances. Maybe this one is running Windows, maybe this one also running Windows, maybe the third one is running Red Hat Linux, maybe the fourth one is running, let's say that Amazon Linux. So 4 instances you have. Now each of those instances are going to be either running or either a stop, right? If it is running condition, means you can access it, you can connect it. If it is in a stop condition, you will be able to only start and then only you will be able to use them. So in previous chapter, we have learned about how to make instance, how to create instance, how to start them, stop them, terminate them. All those things we have learned in last session. These all things are somehow connected to each other with the help of VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. We are also going to have a practical days of VPC. We will learn more about VPC in upcoming session. But as of now, you just try to understand that all these instances are somehow connected with VPC, and same VPC, our VPC is nothing else just like a network in AWS. So this same network is helping me to connect also my concern EBS. So maybe this instance is having one EBS, another one is having another one, another one is having another one, or maybe a single instance can also have multiple EBS storage. It's same like, for example, you have a computer. If you talk about a computer, in computer generally you can have one in hard disk inside of it, you can also have two, you can also have three, it's up to you, right? But by default one we need at least, so that we can keep operating system and we can start the machine. Adding another one depends on, maybe you need more storage and something, then you add more. Similarly here, when we create an instance, at least one EBS is required there to keep the operating system, to switch it on, to start it. But thereafter, if you need more storage, you can make another, you can create another EBS and you can attach to the instance. Another thing about VPC, if you remember, when we were creating instance, we were also creating a security group. So security group is doing nothing else, something relevant to VPC. It is doing what? It is creating a rule, where you are creating a rule that RDP is allowed, SSH is allowed, HTTP is allowed. So those rules we were creating in a firewall setting, and those firewall setting comes under VPC itself, because firewall is a part of network. And here you see all those EBS, if you take their snapshot, those snapshots are going to be stored on the Amazon S3. So this is how altogether it works. You have EC2, EC2 is going to be connected with EBS to have the basic storage, to have the operating system to run, store the applications or any needed data, plus the backup of EBS, or maybe you can also keep some other data on S3 which you will be able to access from your EC2. So this is how the relationship are among them, how the EC2, EBS and S3 is having a relation with each other. Let's continue here. Next thing here, let's have a look at EBS life cycle. So the day when I was talking about S3, that day I was also talking about the life cycle. We have seen that we were able to make some rule, right? And we were able to define that how the storage is going to be having like. Similarly here, let's have a look at EBS life cycle. So first thing what we do, there is already some vast amount unused space are there. When you create an user account, there is a unlimited storage already being offered by AWS. But to use them, what do you do first? You create a EBS storage. When you are creating, you define the size, like you want 50 GB, you want 500 GB or 20 GB or 20 terabyte. What a space you want, that you define when you are creating it. Once you create, it just become like a volume, but that volume is not usable. So next thing what you do is, you are going to attach it to any of the instance. Same like if you have a hard disk, that hard disk is not usable until unless you don't connect it with any computer. So here the second task what we do is we attach it. So when we attach it, it is going to be attached with any of the EC2 instance. It can be either Linux, it can be either Windows, it can be either any type of operating system. Customized operating system can be also. When it is also attached, it's not in use, because when you just attach, it is like a raw hard disk connected with a machine. For example, if you buy a new hard disk from the shop, then you bring it and you connect to your physical server or physical computer at your home also, that hard disk is not in a mode where you can start using it. So the next part comes that you have to format that hard disk. You have to make sure that how you want to utilize this hard disk. So here you are going to format by using your Amazon EC2. So that time you are also defining the file system. For example, you have made this hard disk and you are attaching it with the instance where it is running Linux operating system. So it will be formatting in ext2, ext3, those kind of file system. If you are attaching it with the Windows machine, so it will be formatted in NTFS or FAT or extFAT. So that will be the second thing. Then it will be mounted. That formatted drive will be mounted, means connected, it will be in a use condition. When it is in use condition, when you start using it, you have some data, you can take a snapshot of it. Snapshot means, you know, all of you, snapshot is nothing else, it's taking a state picture, meaning that whatever the state of the drive is, whatever the condition of drive at that moment is, will be taken as a snap, and whenever you feel like to go back to that condition, you can revert back. Snapshot is a term. Generally, it is if you have ever used VMware, there is a term called snapshot. So VMware, Citrix-Gen, AWS, these all uses term called snapshot. But if you are using, let's talk about, for example, if you are using Hyper-V. So in Hyper-V, the same task is same function is also there, but the name is different. We call it checkpoint. So checkpoint, snapshot, these are a kind of option which help you to take a condition, to store a condition of the state of the hard disk, whatever state is right now. And thereafter, maybe you don't need this hard disk anymore. So what is the next task is, you may deattach it. You can remove it, and then once it is deattached, it is no longer in use with the any EC2, you will be able to delete it, because it is a virtual storage. EBS is a virtual storage, so it is possible to delete it. So first we create it, we attach it, attach with the EC2 and format it in that format. You use it, and if you are working in an enterprise, you will not be going to deattach or delete there. But of course, if any case you need to do so, you can deattach and delete them. So this is the EBS life cycle. Is the one which we are talking right now. Is we are talking about EBS life cycle. Now let's move next. So what are the EBS volume types are? Because if we are talking about EBS, if we are going to create EBS, what are the different volume types are? So first of all, there are two types only. One is SSD, one is HDD. In a layman language, if I tell you what's the difference between them, so you may have seen hard disk, which comes in the market with any of the laptop or computer. Generally, if you talk about maybe 1 year, 2 year before days, most of the hard disk was coming into this format where there was a platter. Even it is available nowadays. So there is a platter. It's like a small disk. On the top of platter, the data are being stored, and we have a read-write head there on the top of it, which reads and write the data on this header, this platter. So this type of hard disk comes under this category, HDD backed volume. The volume which we create on this kind of hard disk is HDD backed volume. Another hard disk is nowadays available, which is known as SSD hard disk. So in SSD hard disk, there is no any concept of platter. There is no any disk or something. It is just made up of so many number of chips inside. And it is similar like you have memory card in your phone. If you have a memory card, if you have a pen drive, if you even break it, will you get any platter there? Will you get anything which moves inside? So that kind of a storage technology is being used in the SSD hard disk, and it is very fast compared to this hard disk. So read, write, input, output, everything is fast here on this hard disk. So this type of hard disk we call it SSD, solid state drive type of hard disk. So if your volume which you are going to create, because EBS is a volume, right? So if your volume is being created on such kind of hard disk, it will be come under category of SSD backed volume. If your volume which you are making for your EC2 instance or for connecting with EC2 instance on this kind of hard disk, so we call it as a HDD backed volume. So this type of backed volume we generally prefer to use for optimize for large streaming workload, and generally it is going to give you throughput of Mbps, megabits per second. If we talk about SSD, it is for optimize for transactional workload. Transactional workload means where the input output data speed require more. You are not storing huge data, but what your main purpose is the speed of putting data in and getting data out. If you want better input output, then you prefer this type of SSD backed volume. If you have a large storage, large streaming workload, then you prefer this one. So this one is dominant in IOPS performance, input output per second, input output per second performance. So if you want a hard disk where the input output should be very fast, maybe you are doing analysis or something, then you will go for it. If you just want to have a large streaming workload, you can go for such kind of volume, such kind of HDD backed volumes. Let's have a look at the next slide here. Here I have tried to compare multiple different type of volumes. So in SSD also we are having two type. If you check here in SSD we have two type. One we have GP2 and one category is IO. Here we have also two category. One is ST, one is called as a SC. So what is these all actually are? So even if you are using HDD type of hard disk block, there are two categories are. One is called as a ST, a standard throughput optimized hard disk, where another one is SC, a standard cold hard disk. So let me try to explain all of them. So if you talk about description of all of these four, this one is balance, price and performance. So if you want to have a balance in your price also, if you don't want to buy something which is very costly, but you want to have a better performance also, so best combination part is this one, GP2, general purpose type of hard disk. So this is for a wide variety of transactional load. Then the better than this, in SSD type we have IO. As per its name, IO means input output. So the priority will be better input output. So highest SSD volume for mission critical application. Critical application means those application which is really critical for your organization. Let's say that you are having a let's say that your company is running a online store. So what if your website goes down for maybe 2 hours or 3 hours? You can imagine what will be the loss. You will be having a revenue loss. You will be having a loss in the benefit of from the customer. Plus you will be having a bad word also. Customer will maybe move to any other site and they will start abusing your site, that this site is all the time it is down or something. So if you are running such kind of services on your computer, you can go for this type of volume, IO, where you can provide better input output and the fast. SSD will be obviously fast than HDD. Now if we talk about HDD, we have two category. One is throughput optimized, so it will be better for putting the throughput, same like this one, input output. So here low cost hard disk for frequently throughput intensive workload. If you want to keep some data which you have a frequent access, you want to have a frequent access on it, but you don't want to pay much for SSD, you want to compromise with the price and you want to use only HDD, then you go for this option. So it will be lower in price compared to SSD, but it is used for frequently throughput. If you have some data which you want to keep for long period of time and you don't have frequent access, then go for this one because it is even lower in the cost. It is one of the lowest cost hard disk type, designed for less frequently access workload. Maybe you are keeping some data which you don't want maybe frequent access or something. Maybe speed doesn't matter, you just want a big storage where you can keep the data, then you can go for the volume that is called HDD. So if you are using this GP2, the volume size it support from 1 GB to 16 terabyte. So if you are making a volume, you can go up to 1 GB to 16 terabyte. If you are making IO, you can go from 4 GB to 16 terabyte. It is bigger than this one. Minimum here it is 1 GB. Here it is minimum is 4 GB. If we talk about this one, you see even bigger. So it can support minimum of 500 GB. Maximum is also 16 TB here. Maximum is everywhere 16 TB. Minimum is here also 500 GB. So what is the main use of it? Dominant performance attribute. So this one GP2 we use for better input output per second. This one is also providing us input output per second, but these two are providing us Mbps throughput. So after knowing this all things, you will be easily able to choose, you will be able to compare them and understand them, that which will be more suitable, which should not cost you much also and which can give you the better performance as well. Obviously you will say that why not to use the best one, this one. So obviously best one is there, but it will be costly, so if you have a proper balance for your company, you are looking for a less price, at less price also, and better performance, then you should be very very clear with their comparison. You should be aware about the difference among them, so that you can decide which one will be better, which one is more suitable according to your requirement. Next, let's try to understand about EBS scope here. EBS scope meaning that here I am trying to explain you that Amazon EBS volume are generally is going to be in a single availability zone only. We are going to see it practically also, and preferred is you should always keep all your EBS volume in a single availability zone. Even if you try to keep it in a different availability zone, it's not possible. So whatever it means that whatever volume size you define, for example you define volume size 80 GB, so that 80 GB will be stored always on a single availability zone. If you make a different volume, you can keep maybe on the same, maybe on the different, it's up to you. So maybe if you, let's say that you have 4 EBS volume, so you can have 4, I'm saying you have 4 EBS volume. You can do that, you can have one at one region, one availability zone, another at another availability zone, another at another. So you can keep them at different availability zone. But one volume is always being occupying the space from one availability zone only. It's not like you have a 80 GB volume and that 80 GB is being occupying a space maybe 40 from here, 40 from another different availability zone. It's not possible like that. But when we talk about data, volume data can be replicated across even multiple server in an availability zone. So whatever data you have, obviously the replication can be within an availability zone. It can be replicated on multiple servers also. So we will see these all things in today itself when we will do the practical. So now let's move to the practical side. Before that, one last thing I would like to have here, that what are the basic usage? Where do we use EBS? So very first thing, very first place where do we use EBS? To store the operating system of your EC2 instance. So our EC2 instance uses EBS to keep the operating system. It used to keep the booting file, boot volume, root volume we create on the EBS. Second, it can be also used to keep your databases like a scales with your performance need. It can be used to store or install the enterprise application. Maybe your company is looking to install Adobe Photoshop or MS Office or anything. So where do we install it? We install on the EBS, which is attached with your EC2 instance. And then for business continuity, meaning that it minimizes data loss and recovery time by regular backup. So what if you take a backup of maybe one EBS, you can keep it on another EBS. That can be another use of it. So EBS can be used for keeping the operating system, to make storing your database, to installing or keeping your any application, and for business continuity such as taking backup, restoring data or something. These are the use of EBS. Here let's have a final difference when we try to compare among reboot, stop and terminate. Like yesterday we have seen, in last session we have talked about reboot, stop and terminate. These are the three conditions we can apply on the 3 state, we can apply on the any of the EC2 instance. So what happen when you do any of this with your storage? For example, you are having a machine. Your machine EC2 instance is connected with one EBS. What happen when you do the restart of this EC2 instance? What happened with the IP address? What happened with the billing part? So here is the comparison then. So when we talk about a host computer EC2 instance, what happened with them? So when we restart a computer, the host computer is going to remain same. It is not going to be changed. Host computer means, if I tell you, you have this physical server available at the availability zone of any of cloud service provider. On the top of that, they have the hypervisor. On the top of that, we create the instance, right? So maybe this instance is running, and when you restart, it will remain on the same physical host. But if you stop it and then you start it, it may be possible that maybe this instance has moved to any other free host machine. If it is there, it is possible. Second thing about public IP address, maybe you have seen that when we create an instance, it has a public IP address also, by using which you can access it. By using it, if you are hosting a website, that website can be accessed. So that public address, what happened with it? So if you just restart the machine, it will not be changed. It will remain as the public. Maybe right now public IP address for this machine is 15.1.1.10. I'm just assuming like this. So if I restart, after restart, the IP address will remain same as it is. But if you shut down, when you go to stop it and then you start, new IP address will be assigned. So maybe right now it is having this IP, you stop the machine and then you start, you maybe will see that now the IP address is 35.1.1.7. So the IP address will be changed because that IP will be given to any other running instance. When we talk about elastic IP address is something like the fixed IP address. You have dedicated IP address for your host, for your instance. So if you have set such kind of thing, for example, you decided that you have choose that this IP address 15.1.1.1 is going to be permanent. I have used it as a not automatic assigned public IP address, but I have used it as a elastic IP address. So when I restart, EIP will remain associated with instance. It's not going to change. Even if you stop and start, this IP address is going to remain as it is. But if you terminate the machine, terminate means as simple, it is deleting. So if you delete, obviously the IP address will be disassociated from the instance. It will become, that IP will become free and AWS may use that IP address for somebody else. When we talk about instance, a store volume, the volume which you have connected it, so that volume will be preserved even if you restart. But if you stop and then start, it is possible that it will be erased. If you terminate, it will be again erased. If we talk about EBS volume, this is a store volume. I'm not talking about now a store volume, I'm talking about now EBS volume, the one which you have attached with it. It will be preserved in any condition, either you restart, either you stop or start, but it will be only deleted when you terminate your instance. So whenever you delete you remove your EC2 instance, when you are deleting it, you can see that there is already a message pop up telling that your EBS volume is also going to be removed or erased or deleted. When we talk about a billing part, we know that when you are using any EC2 instance or if you are using any EBS, you will be charged for it, right? So the charging part, when we talk about, if you restart the machine, instance billing hour doesn't change. It will be still counting. For example, your EC2 instance is running from last 4 hours and now you have just restarted. So it doesn't mean that it will start from 0 now. It will start counting 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours like that. It will keep going like that. If you start and stop, if you stop, in occurring charges soon as a state is changed to a stopping. So it will be like a stopped and then it will start the billing again when you start next time. And if you terminate, obviously you stop the in-occurring charges as a state is changed to the shutting down. So the time when you click on terminate, from that moment the billing part gets stopped there only. There will be no any bill after terminated. So maybe you have terminated any of the EC2 instance today. So from today now after that, no any hours, minutes, second will be charged for that EC2 instance because you have already terminated. So this was all the billing part and the difference between reboot, start, stop and terminate. Now we are moving to the lab. We are moving to the hands-on lab on it. So to perform the practical, all of this practical, as you see, we are going to first create an EBS with some size in the same agent of instance. So I'm going to show you how to create EBS. But to perform all this practical, what first thing I need to do is I have to launch my browser. So let me launch my browser. In my browser, I will be logging to my AWS account. Sign into the console. We go to EC2. And first thing I'm going to do is, right now you see I don't have any running instance. So let me first make a running instance here. So let me go to making an instance. Creating instance we guys have already learned. So I will just be going a bit fast. Free tier. Maybe I want to make an instance of running Windows 2016. Let's say that. So I just select. I choose the instance type free tier. I leave it them default. So right now my region is Mumbai and the availability zone I am leaving it default. It will decide which one is going to be there. I click on add a storage now. So you see by default one EBS is already going to be created when you are making a new EC2 instance. And the size will be 30 GB if you are using Windows instance. If you are using Linux instance, it will be 8 GB. So this is already one going to be created, and here is the volume type. The one we discussed in our PPT, that there are volume type GP2, IO, IO2, a standard, but others are not showing here. Not so. The other type which we have discussed, if I go back here in my slide, we discussed that there are some other types also like ST1, SC1. So those names are not appearing here, but don't worry about that. Those names will be coming when you are going to make an EBS manually. Right now we are just creating an instance, and it is just by default going with the process. So I'm just going with it. Here you see by default what is selected. One thing you can pay attention here, delete on termination, meaning that when you will delete this EC2 instance, automatically this EBS volume will be also deleted. When you terminate the machine, the volume will be also deleted. If you uncheck it, then only it will not be deleted. You have to manually delete it. Now I go to add tag. Tag, you know already what does it mean. If you want to add, then it is okay. Go with security group. You guys already know what is the meaning of security group. So let me just give a name. Maybe I just give Windows security group 01, WSG01, Windows security group 01. So if you are making a window instance, automatically this security group is going to have RDP already allow. If you want to allow HTTP or HTTPS or anything, you can go for add rule. If you are making a Linux instance, you guys know already that SSH will be automatically allowed. Another you will be able to add. Right now I just say anyone from anywhere I can do the remote desktop to this instance. Review and launch. So I review this and click on launch. Now it require a key pair. We know what is the use of key pair. So let me create a new key pair with the name. Maybe I am giving server 2016 key, because that is the operating system I am putting in this instance. Download key pair. So key pair has been downloaded. Now I click on launch instance. So what I have done is I have just created a new EC2 instance running Windows Server 2016. It's just going to be created. It will right now state is pending because it is still starting. That it will may take like 1 to 2 minutes to get it ready with the status check 2 by 2. Meanwhile, what I can do, I can give the name to this machine because I have used Windows Server 2016 AMI. So let me give the name Server 2016 PC, something like that. So that is the name of this machine I have given. Instance type is T2 micro. Instance ID is this. Availability, it has gone with AP Asia Pacific South 1B. A state is running now. A status is still working on it. Let's try to go a bit right side here. It has a public DNS name, that is EC2 hyphen the IP address dot AP, all name will be there. If you want to check, it is going to be like this, Asia Pacific South 1.com. IP version for public IP. You see, this is what IP address I was talking about. Automatically when you create a new EC2 instance, you will be getting a public IP address. By using this IP, you will be able to access this machine. But this IP will get changed whenever you stop and start the machine. That is what I was trying to explain that time. Right now monitoring for this one is disabled. Key name is the key which we generated for this. The name I gave server 2016 key. Launch time, when we have launched. The security group I created Windows security group 01. Owner is this one. So this way we have some information relevant to it. Once this EC2 instance is going to get ready, we will try to do remote desktop of it. So let me get ready for that. First thing is, by default the username is administrator. What about the password? So to get the password, click on it, choose file. You are going to the download location and the key which you have downloaded and decrypt the password. So that is the password. Anytime it will be required. If I open my notepad, maybe I can keep it there. That password is this one. This is the password for my Windows Server 16 instance. This is the DNS. So if you are using through DNS, you will be using it maybe through browser or something. And this is the username administrator. Or if you download this, automatically these two information will be already here in this file. So I have downloaded. I just click on it, click on connect. And now it is asking me for the password. So this is the password. You copy the password and paste it there. And then we will be able to connect and access this machine, this instance which we have created. So you can see a status has already checked now 2 by 2. Everything is okay. So I can click on OK. And now we have created Windows Server 2016 instance and we are accessing it. We are connecting to it. You see now it has launched Windows Server 2016. How fast it is. So I'm logging with the administrator credential here. And this machine is now ready to be used. So this instance we created actually from the AWS Management Console, but this machine can be now used from anywhere. If I make it full screen, this is how it is going to look like. On this machine, if you want to see some detail, the details are going to take some time to come. You will be able to see here in this right side corner the details like what is the public IP address for this machine is, which operating system you are using, and all those details will be coming here. But our main focus is related to the storage today, right? So I am going to run of this machine and I'm typing disk mgmt.msc, disk management.microsoft service console. And here you see how many hard disks is connected to this instance. One hard disk with what size? 30 GB. This is only one hard disk connected to this machine with the size of 30 GB. Why it is having 30 GB? So if you remember when I was creating the EC2 instance, let me show you from my console here. This is the machine we made. So if you go to the volume side, go to the volume in under the elastic block storage volume, you see this is the volume. This is the hard disk is attached there with the size of 30 GB, volume type GP2. It is giving you IOPS 100, and by default the volume which is containing operating system is also having one snapshot by default there. It is in which availability zone? This block storage EBS is in Asia Pacific South 1B. That's the availability zone in the Mumbai region. A state in use. This storage is in use. It is connected with my machine and it is being used. Attachment information is here. It is connected with server 2016 PC. It is attached. Condition is okay. Volume state is okay. Encryption I have not enabled on it. This is the detail of this particular hard disk or volume, you can call it. Let me even give the name to this volume. So this is my main volume, not so. So server 2016. Let's give it name maybe disk 1. Is it okay? So we have right now one hard disk attached with my EC2 instance. If you go back again to instance, you have only one machine, server 2016, and it is having one hard disk connected to it, one volume connected to it, that we are able to see as when you scroll down volumes. Here you see. Our first practical for today lesson was to create a new EBS. So let's try to create a new EBS here with any size, because we are just doing a practice. So I have decided to go with the size of maybe 1 GB. So let's do that task. How to create a new volume? So simply you will be coming here. When you are at EC2 dashboard area, here you scroll down. Below that you will see elastic block storage volume. Click on it and you say create volume. Now here it is asking you volume type. So when you click on it, you get all those options which I have been talking about. ST, SC, so a standard cold, a standard throughput, input output, then GP, general purpose. So this way you will be able to see that you get all different volume types. So maybe let me go with the default, that is GP2. Here is the size. When you select GP2, the minimum size it support 1 GB, maximum it support 16 terabyte. If I choose IO minimum, it support 4 GB. These are the things we theoretically discussed before we came here. So now I guess you will be able to easily understand that what are the difference between this all. So I'm going with the GP2 because it support 1 GB, and let me create a hard disk of 1 GB itself. So I define here the size 1. So IOPS it is giving me 100 out of that. Availability zone, I will recommend you to do like this. Check your machine instance where it is running. So your instance is running in Mumbai region. Availability zone is South 1B. So please keep in your mind that when you are making a new volume, you are also going to choose the same availability zone. So which one you are going to choose? AP South 1B. Why I am choosing that? Because my instance which I am going to use to connect this volume is in 1B availability zone. Then after I scroll down, snapshot ID and encryption, let me leave it blank right now. Tag, let me even leave it blank. I just click on create volume now. So volume created successfully. Volume ID is vol 0262 something. Click on close. So now you see in this list we have 2 volumes. One was created by default when we created EC2 instance, and one is this one which we created now. So let me give this name disk 2. I have just made this disk. I have not attached anywhere, right? So I have given name disk 2. The size is 1 GB. Volume type is GP2. IOPS it provide 100. Snapshot, there is no snapshot for this disk as of now. Created date is here. Availability zone, it has been created in this availability zone. A state is available. Available means this is just a hard disk available to be used, but it is not in use right now. It is just available. Anybody can use it. Other attachment information is blank, means it is not attached with any particular EC2 instance right now. Monitoring, volume status is okay. Encryption is not applied right now. So this is the detail of this volume we have. Do you want this hard disk to be attached to this machine? I go back again. This machine is having how many hard disks? Here you see only one hard disk of 30 GB. Maybe this machine I want to have two hard disks, one with 30 GB and one with 1 GB which I created. Then what is the step now? Second step I am going to follow. So attach EBS with any running instance or any instance. This is the second practical now I am going to perform. First was create EBS with the 1 GB in the same availability zone of instance, where your instance is, in which availability zone your instance is, the same availability zone you have used to create this 1 GB EBS. That practical is done now. Now I'm moving to the second practical, attaching that with the instance. So let's do that. Let us go to the AWS Management Console. Select the disk which you want to add. So select it, action, and here you have the option of attach the volume. Click on attach volume. Here you see, when you click on attach volume, it is already telling me that which instance you want to use to connect with. Maybe you are running multiple instances. Right now I have only one instance, Server 2016. What I have, one for Amazon Linux, one for Red Hat Linux, one for Windows Server 2019, one with any other operating system. So if you have multiple instances, those all name will appear into this list. But right now only one is appearing. Why? Because as I told you, I have only one instance as of now. So I select that instance, click on attach, and now this hard disk is going to be attached. It is still in the process. You can check from here. A state is now in use. It is in use now. Why? Because it is attached. Attachment information is this, and it is attached with Server 2016 PC. So I hope you will be able to understand what does it going to happen now. This disk 2 is going to be attached with that. Now it is ready to use. So let's try to see on that machine. Here you see, when you go to this machine, Server 2016, you are able to see now there are two hard disks, one with 30 GB which was there before, and another one is attached, that is 1 GB. Now to use it, because it is just attached, so when you attach a new hard disk, first thing you have to do is make it online. Second task you have to do is take right click, initialize, by choosing the type of partition style. So I will go with maybe MBR, master boot record. So now this hard disk is in a condition where you can create the volumes, simple volume, a span volume, mirror volume, whatever. So if maybe I make a simple volume here and I make a drive of D, next, finish. So now I have two drive on this machine. If I go to my computer, I have two drives, C drive, D drive. D drive of 1 GB, C drive of 30 GB. So I guess you can understand now this way how many hard disks we can attach to this machine and what will be the size. You can have up to 16 terabyte also each hard disk. If I want to remove it, first thing I will maybe delete the volume. Then I will make it offline. And then from here I can simply right click and say deattach. I'm not going to deattach right now. Let's leave it there. Let's repeat this a step. Let's repeat this a step, but maybe this time I'm going to create a volume in a different availability zone. Maybe I choose A1A this time. Let's see what will happen now. So if I go with 1A, volume type, again I'm using GP2. The size I'm giving again maybe 1 GB. Rest I'm going to leave it default. Create volume. So volume has been created successfully. Now I have third hard disk. Not so. I can give the name disk 3. This disk 3 is connected where? Are you able to see there on this Windows machine? Let's check disk management. So still it is showing disk 0 and disk 1 only. The third hard disk is not showing there. So now what I am going to do, I am going to take right click, and if I try to attach it, let's see what will happen. Attach this volume and let's try to see here. This is what I wanted to show you. Now you are not able to see any instance here because the volume you have created in the availability zone of Asia Pacific South 1A. But the instance which you are running is running on 1B. So if your availability zone is different for EC2 instance and for EBS, they are not going to be connected to each other. So these things keep in your mind whenever you are making an EBS. Please pay attention there that with which instance you are willing to connect it and where is that instance is, in which availability zone that instance is, which region, which availability zone the instance is running. Same region, same availability zone you supposed to create, you should create the volume, otherwise it is not going to be helpful for you. Now if you want to delete any of them, so just simply select that hard disk, go to action and you can delete the volume. Let me leave it like that as of now. Let's go to next. Maybe now I want to extend. Let me first perform this practical. Extend the existing EBS size. Is it possible or not? So we are done with these two practical up to now. Let me now jump to this practical. Extend the existing EBS size, meaning that right now I have one instance running, right? This is one instance running, and by default what is the size of its volume? What is the size of it? 30 GB. The one which I created, another one is 1 GB. Can I make it bigger? Can I, maybe by default I got 30 GB. Can I make it 40 GB thereafter? Can I make this one as 1 GB when we created? Can I make it now 2 GB? Is it possible or not? So let's try to do that experiment now. To do so, you simply select that volume, take right click and go to modify volume. So here it is, 1 GB it was. Now what size you want to define? So maybe I want to now make it, let's say that you have a hard disk already connected to your machine and that hard disk size is, let's say that 1 GB. But 1 GB is now not sufficient. Your company has grown up and now you need 5 GB or maybe 2 GB right now. So I will say 2 GB now and I say modify. It is asking me, really, do you want to modify that volume? It may take some time. It can generally take up to even 10 to 15 minutes depending on the size of data and size of the volume. You may need to extend the OS file system on the volume to use any newly allocated space and so on. So I'm saying, okay, no problem, go ahead with it. Click on close. So what I did, I have tried to extend it. Let me refresh it once. So now you see the size has become now 2 GB. Same way, if I want to extend maybe the size of this one or maybe size of this one, can I do that? Let's do that. Modify volume. If it is 1 GB, I can make it maybe 2 GB or maybe 3 GB. And I say modify. Say yes, done. If you refresh, so this hard disk number 2 which we have created has become now 3 GB and the same it is going to reflect also on your machine. Here you see what is the size it is showing. So it is showing me right now still 1 GB. It will become 3 GB but it will take some time. So how can you see that how much time it is going to take or something? So you check here. It is doing optimizing process. Once it will become 100%, then the result will be shown here. So this one is almost 99% done. This one is almost 18% done. We did the change there in extending the size. Even the same way we can even extend the size of this hard disk. It's not like this is the default hard disk when I was making EC2 instance, so we are not able to change. We can do the same, we can apply the same logic here also. So we can take right click, modify volume. By default it was 30 GB. Now if I want to have it for 35 GB or 40 GB, whatever size, I can just type here. Maybe I make it 31 GB, modify, say yes. So it will be modified to 31 GB and it will be reflected there. So let me first refresh. and here you see the size of this one I have changed to 31. This one I changed to 2. This one I changed to 3 GB. So it may take a bit longer time because the size is a bit big. This one is almost 99. This one is almost 18%. We just have to wait for it to get the result on this machine. So when that become 100%, you will see this hard disk will become 31 GB and this hard disk will become 2 GB because we have extended it. We have increased the size. So this process is still in the working condition. It's still going to be work. So let's leave it like that. Meanwhile, let's create one more EC2 instance. So let's go to instance. Let's make Linux instance because our one practical is also EBS for Linux instance. So the steps is exactly going to be same. No difference will be there. So if you make a launch new instance, you go with any Linux machine. You go with instance type. You choose these details. Add a storage. So here you see by default EBS is going to create for Linux with the 8 GB. Leave it blank. Security group, here it will be different because it is a Linux machine. So it is taking a bit time. Here we can define any name. Maybe I say security group for, let's give the name LSG, Linux Security Group 01. Linux Security Group 01. Here you see SSH will be by default allowed. Review and launch it. We need maybe we can use the same key also. So I just maybe use the same key. View instance. So now I am making one more machine. Let me give the name. This is Amazon Linux. This is Linux machine. Once this Linux machine will become ready, we will be able to even attach a hard disk to it. So if I go to the volume side, if you go to here, now you see how many volumes do I have. I have now 4 volumes. This one is disk 1 connected to server 2016. This is disk 2 we created and attached with the server 2016. You can see here. This is by default created with the Linux, and this one, this third hard disk which we created, we haven't attached with anybody. So if you want to attach with the Linux, what will be the step? Select, action, attach volume. You will have to attach with the Linux because my Linux machine and this volume is in the same availability zone. Then I go with attach and it will be attached. So if you come here in the right side, you will be able to see this volume and this volume is attached with the Linux. This volume and this volume is attached with my Windows Server 2016 PC. Windows Server 2016 EC2 instances. So now we are done with the practical part of this one also. We are done with this practical also. We created 1 GB or any size of EBS in a different availability zone, or maybe in a different region even you can try. And we have seen that when we try to attach with any instance where the instance is in a different availability zone and the EBS in a different availability zone, they were not able to connect. This was the output. So we found that no, it doesn't work. I created an EC2 instance in a different availability zone. I created EBS in a different availability zone, and when I tried to make them connected, attached, it was not working. So we are done with this practical. We are done with extending existing EBS size also. Now we are only remain with the practical of snapshot. So now that is the task we are going to perform, taking snapshot of any of the EBS, how to take it. Meanwhile, let's check here. Is there anybody who is finished with it? Yes, you see these ones has been gone with the 100%. So if you want to see the result, no, let me show you the result here. Here, let me just refresh it. Let me just open again disk management. It is just still showing me 1 GB. So maybe I just disconnect and I will connect it once again. I need the password. So password is this one. Let me see. So here we are again trying to access that server machine. We go to disk management of this machine. Okay, it looks like it's still showing. So it may take some time, or maybe we can do a restart also to this machine. We will try with that also. Otherwise, generally if you just wait for some time, this result is going to be reflected. If you want to have the immediate effect or something, I can try with doing the restart also with that instance. So maybe I go to this machine and let me just do a restart here, just to have a quick result. Then I go to connect. So here we are just trying to connect the same machine which we have restarted. Only the result what I want to see there, that the machine should have the another second hard disk which is attached there with the 1 GB. It should become now 2 GB because we extended it. So that is what we are going to just see there. Let it just get connected first. Alright, okay, one more thing we have to take care about, that once this PC has restarted, the IP address may change. So let's try to go to again connect. Before that, let me just refresh it. Here you see that was actually old, it was not showing even Linux. So now I go to this server 2016, click on connect. Let me try to connect it once again with the password. Say OK. Yes. So here is the machine. We go to the disk management of this machine now once again. And now you can see the size is showing 3 GB for this hard disk because we extended, and even you can see this size is 31 GB. So this is what I wanted to show you, because this was the practical, this was the thing which we were looking after. So if you check here, this was the condition, that extend the existing EBS size. So by default the EBS which was by default attached was before 30 GB. We extended it with the 31 GB. Then we attached a new hard of 1 GB there, and then we changed it to the 3 GB. So we have done 2 experiments. We extended both of these hard disk and it was successful. Now I am just going to show you how to take snapshot of any of EBS. So let me perform that. To take a snapshot, very easy task is, you have to just go to the EBS section, Elastic Block Store. You go there and there is a snapshot option. So when you go to snapshot, you will be able to see there is an option of creating a snapshot. You can take a snapshot from here also. Or if you go to the volumes, There also you can see. So these are the two hard disks. These are the two, actually I should not call it hard disk, I should call it, let me give this one name. It was for Amazon Linux disk 1. So this two disk is by default having snapshot because they contain the operating system, and it was by default attached with the EC2 instance. But these are the two hard disks extra which we created, so they don't have any snapshot. If you want to take their snapshot, simply you can choose that hard disk, go to action, and here you are going to get the simple option of create snapshot. Give any name to this snapshot. Maybe I'm giving that with the date or something. Maybe I'm just assuming that today is, let's say that 28th of August, something like that. Will maintain. That will be just the name. It will be making me easy to understand when I created the snapshot, what was the condition. Click on create snapshot and done. So now snapshot has been taken here. Once you refresh, you will be able to see here also in this list. So it will not be showing in this list actually, it will be just showing for the default. So now those snapshot, if you want to see, scroll it down here, go to this snapshot area, and you will see there is a snapshot. Description is 28th August, well maintained. For which hard disk you have taken? So it will be showing you also the detail of that. This is the date when you created, and the snapshot ID is also here. The detail is here. The size of this snapshot is 3 GB, and here is the other details like description and all. Permission, tags, all those details you will be able to see from here. You can define here the name also of this snapshot. So this is a simple step of taking snapshot of any EBS. If you want to get more brief on snapshot, so it is something like this. For example, you have EBS. It's like your block of storage. So maybe on 28th of August, there was maybe 20 files. Maybe you have installed one application, one app was installed there, one app, 20 files, like these are the things were there. So you can take a snapshot on 28th. So it will take this state of the hard disk. What is the state of that day? Then on 29, maybe you added 2 more files. Then on 30, maybe you deleted 10 files. I'm putting minus, deleted 10 file. Here you added 2 file. Then here, maybe on 31st, you taken again a snapshot. So it will take a condition of what is the current state of the hard disk. So this will be one snapshot. This is the second snapshot. This way you can have multiple snapshot, and this snapshot are being stored on the Amazon S3. Keep in your mind. So it will be again charged. It is a charge service. And maybe any day if you lost the data, maybe on the 1st of September you have formatted this hard disk, or maybe the data gets deleted, or something happened wrong with the computer, or maybe you lost the data, you have this snapshot. So you can revert your hard disk into this snapshot or to this snapshot, whatever snapshot you have taken. That's the benefit of using the snapshot. So I have just shown you how to take the snapshot. So taking snapshot is very easy. Go to volume and select any of the hard disk for which you want to take snapshot of. Maybe this time I want to take snapshot of this. So select this, go to action, click on create snapshot. That is how we take a snapshot. So this was all. Now if you go to here, we have completed all the practical today. Before I wind up it, let me just remove all of this because these all are chargeable, so I should not leave them there running. So now one by one I am going to delete all of them. How to remove or delete the hard disk? So select the hard disk here, action. First I have to deattach them. Once it will be deattached, it will be disconnected from any running instance. Then thereafter you will be only able to delete them. This too I don't need to delete even from here, because when I will terminate the instance, it will be already deleted. So just wait for a moment to get this ready to be deleted. Here, these are the two hard disks. Now I don't need maybe, so I go to action, delete the volumes. Yes. So I have deleted those volume. I can refresh to see the result. Now only two volumes are there, one for 2016 server, one for Amazon Linux, and these are attached with my EC2 instance. So if I go to instances, these are the two instances running. I can choose them and I say I want to go to not a stop, not reboot. What I want to do is terminate, means shut down and remove. So now it is saying shutting down, thereafter it will be showing you terminated, and after 20 minutes these two names will be completely removed from my console. And once this two PC will be terminated, once this state will become terminated, then if I will be going to volumes, I will see that these volumes will not be showing there also. So let's just wait for a moment to get this machine in a state of terminated as it is right now. We just refresh. So when you are in the instance, this name is still showing me, but it will be removed after 20 minutes by itself automatically. Let's try to have a look about the volumes now. You will be seeing that there is no any volume now remaining, because when I terminated the EC2 instance, the attached volume, the default volume will be automatically deleted because it was checked while I was creating it. Now for the snapshot, there is a one snapshot. If I want to delete it, select, and here you have the option of delete. So snapshot is also occupying the space. Keep in your mind, if the way I took the snapshot, that was of 3 GB, so that 3 GB will be again charged if I leave it running there. So I have shown you how to remove the snapshot, how to remove the volume, how to terminate the EC2 instance. So what is now remaining, you can check in the dashboard. In dashboard there is no running instance now, no any dedicated host, volume is 0, key pair. You remember I made one key pair and used for Windows also, for Linux also. So I go to key pair, and this is not charged, but let me, if I want to remove, I can go to here and delete. So this way I have deleted it from here. Thereafter let's check what is else remaining there. Security group is still there, so let's go to security group, and two security groups we are the one who created, Windows and Linux. So let me delete them. This was the default, I am leaving them there. So after selecting these two security group, I go to the action, scroll down, delete security group, just type here delete to confirm, click on delete. So this way we have deleted all. Now we go to dashboard, there is nothing running over there. So that was all here. Let's come back here. So this was all in this particular session. We have learned about how to create EBS, how to attach, how to take snapshot, how to extend existing EBS, how to create EBS in a different availability zone, and does it work with the different availability zone instance or not. And then we have seen also how to create EBS and attach with the Linux instance. So now it's time to go to the question answer section. So we have few question answer here. The first question relevant to today's topic is, select the appropriate stage not present in EBS lifestyle. Which one is not present? Answer this question here. Second question is, EBS snapshot are stored where exactly? I have explained you already. Whenever we take EBS snapshot, where does it being stored? So what is the right answer? You can choose. Third question is, what is the volume size offered by GP2? If you choose GP2 type of volume, what is the minimum, what is the maximum size you can have? Question number 4 says that, which volume type is the lowest cost HDD, not SSD. I am talking about HDD. So in HDD, which one is the lowest cost designed for less frequently accessed workload? Is it ST? Is it SC? Is it IO or is it GP2? What is the right answer? You can give. And final question is IOPS stand for what? What is IOPS stand for? So that was all in this particular video. I hope this was informative enough for all of you, and I would like to thank you for watching.